Welcome to this episode of One More Round. I'm really excited because we have Michelle Davis. Michelle, you are the founder and the CEO of VitalBeautyPower.
Yes.
And Michelle has come all the way from Munich to be on today's show. And we've been praying about the weather, haven't we?
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden, the rain has gone, the clouds have dispersed, and now we have a little bit of sunlight for us to come outside. Michelle's in heels. You know, these leaves are a little soggy. But we're going to make the most of it, aren't we, Michelle?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, Michelle, for those of the public that do not know who you are, tell us a little bit about who you are. How would you describe yourself?
First of all, I'm a mother of an almost 3-year-old daughter. And I'm a single mom, and I'm a medical doctor. I was trained before in orthopedics, and now I'm in pediatrics because I want to do the combination. I'm also a nutritional expert and a vitality strategist. This is what I do, in fact.
Yeah, so very busy then, single mom, doctor, and then bringing together your medical experience with strategy to really help benefit the lives of other people.
Absolutely.
In terms of how you balance, life, because particularly, we're all in a situation where we're creating a business, we're doing the things that we love, but we've also got to measure it with some of the more human sides of things. How have you managed to find the balance between, raising, your daughter and also trying to create a business which sustains both of you?
It's not always easy. It was also quite challenging. And also in springtime, when I tried to push forward very fast, I had to realize I had to step back, because my daughter was a very good mirror for that. And she really showed me, Mom, I need you more. So I need more time with you. So I decided, okay, step back, take the little baby steps, and really create an environment which is good for her and for me. And so what's really important for me is having quality time with my daughter. So it's really like phone off, spending time with her, just being focused on her, going outside with her, going to the playground, whatever she likes to do, or painting at home, or making fun things in front of the mirror or whatever. And she loves dancing like me, and so that's what I really think is important, that you really have like family first, and also your own health first. So this is very important, that you can also show your clients to keep their vitality, because it's always a balance between work, business, your sports or vitality, the family and all that. And sometimes it's not easy to get everything in place, and sometimes I'm also rotating 10 plates, or things happen which are not planned, and then you really have to adapt. But it's important you just try to really calm down, breathe, and then look on the solution and not on the problem. So
what do you feel is like the one thing that really brings you the most sense of happiness? Like, where is your happy place, and what would that look like?
it's just almost looking in the face of my daughter. That's somehow one thing, because she's a very happy kid and she's really entertaining. And she loves, if we are going outside or in a restaurant, even she starts entertaining the whole restaurant. And I really like that. That's, for example, one thing I really love. The other thing is I love dancing. So this is one of my passions since I'm very little. And I also did ballroom dancing as competition. So this is my really my passion. But it's not only that. I also love to be creative, because my first education before becoming a doctor, I was a multimedia producer. And I did this education, and I mainly worked in graphic and screen design. So this is still something I love as a hobby to do, to be creative. So this is that, yeah.
We might have to end the show with a little dance.
Yes, we can.
So
salsa, flamenco?
No, I was thinking more, I could do tango or I could do samba.
Okay.
They're the ones that I learned.
Okay.
So we could definitely end with a little piece. It would be hilarious, wouldn't it?
We could do that. We could do that. I'm in.
That'd be funny. Definitely.
I'm in for that.
I think what you've shared in terms of, your daughter, and I love the fact that you take time to put your phone away, to be present, because I think that's really difficult. It is for me, because it's 24/7. When you work for yourself, it's not defined. It's not like the 9 to 5 where you clock into work, clock out. So it's really important that we do take that time, and family is obviously a big driver for you from what it sounds, and I think that's really important. Now, you've used the word vitality a lot. That seems to be quite a poignant word for you. If you were to define yourself in one word, what would that be?
What would that be? I would just say love. Because I love what I do. And it also drives me. It's also, sure, as you said before with my daughter, she's my why. But she's not the only why, because what I want to give my clients is that it is the part of vitality. Because I think we can't give health to people, but we can help people to get more vital as a doctor or as a physiotherapist or a healer or whatever. And I like to have the combination of the classic medicine with the alternative medicine, because this is very important to have this combined, because not everything is healthy from the pharma industry, but you can combine it with good natural products and all that, so you can really give the people a better advantage to become more vital.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So I think coupling with what you've been through, obviously with your daughter as well, having your why and moving forward, what would you say has been the best piece of advice that you've been given? Because, you know, we're all of us are learning, aren't we? We learn and we grow, and then we teach from our own experience. You know, you wrote a book as well, you know, and so what would that look like in terms of the best piece of advice that you've been given?
I have to say, it was my baccalaureate, or the director of our school, when he held the baccalaureate speech, he said, "You have the choice to choose, and everything you choose is your choice." So he said, "Choose wisely." And I think that's a very, very good quote, what he gave us, or gave me on the way. And it stuck in my head and for years. And sometimes, sure, you maybe, in the beginning, you think it was a wrong choice. But in fact, it wasn't. It was a choice you made in that moment because you didn't know better. But it was just a lesson you learned, and then you grow from this. So this is what I really, Yeah,
it's amazing that the choices we make, they do have an impact, and they become a part of our story, don't they?
Yes.
Like, we gather experiences in life, we expose ourselves to different situations, and we take the good and we take the not so good, but it makes us who we are. And then we arrive at this point. When we were having a meal yesterday, we were talking about the fact that you were born and raised like in Germany, and then I was born and raised in England, and how all the different experiences that we've had have now ended up at this very point in time where we're recording this show. And then that becomes really crazy, doesn't it?
Yes,
because you just think, wow, how did that even map out? How did this all intricately work so that we can have time now to be able to speak to the guys on One More Round? And I always find that really fascinating, having that, ability to do that. Just to kind of summarize then, you're very holistic, very intentional, and very present, and you clearly want to make an impact. How do you switch off, Michelle? Like, when you need to breathe, obviously we've got Christmas coming up, and when we have holidays, just share briefly, quickly, what do you do to switch off?
We're just right here in the nature, and I love to be in the nature because I was raised like this from my grandmother. And since I was 3 years old, I was hiking with her in the mountains. So this is really my off time when I love to be in the nature. I love traveling. I love just getting out of maybe the crowded surrounding in a city. Even though I also love to be in a city. But I really think nature is really what brings you back down to earth. You can have fresh air, you breathe, you have now like sunlight, for example. So this is really what brings me down. And also dancing. This is really like music. Music is really a big part in my life. Yeah.
Cool. Music. Yeah. Every time you say dance, it kind of makes me want to do something like a little bit of Irish dancing.
Oh, we couldn't do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Where are the bagpipes?
The average human being spends 20 minutes on getting themselves ready in terms of their appearance. Probably for ladies, it's probably a little more, but the average is 20 minutes. And yet the flip side of that most people only spend 20 seconds on what's going on the inside every day. I recently just went on what I call a soul sabbatical to Cornwall, and I took time to really reflect, to journey, to pray, to cry, to really get in tune with myself. And you know, even though I didn't get maybe everything that I wanted, the one thing that I really got was a clarity to be able to know where I am now and where I want to head. And I think it's so paramount that we take time out of the normal, go to a different environment where you basically close the door on all the voices, all the responsibilities you have, and really get to journey with what's going on inside of you. So my challenge is, if you can set the watch for 20 minutes every day and take time to really reflect, whether it's be quiet with a pen and paper, or whether it's take yourself for a walk and just be one with nature, get yourself in that place where you're really taking stock and reflecting, it will serve you wonders. I did it for a week. All I'm asking you to do is to do it 20 minutes every day. Okay, so Michelle, the show's called One More Round. We've been going since April. I think this is going to be the 20th episode. We're just launching Series 3. When you hear the words "one more round," because I always think title and what you kind of put on something really should represent the essence of what it is that you're trying to communicate or market. So when you hear the words "one more round," what does that conjure for you?
For me, it was like when I heard it, it's like consistency, that you really keep going, even though you failed. I don't want to call it failure because it's not. But it's just an experience that you just. Maybe something didn't work out the way you wanted, but you just keep going. You take the next step, you find the next way, the next solution, the next thing. And I think that's really the thing. And even if it's a little tiniest baby step a day, even if it's just an email or a post or whatever, just do it. Just to keep the consistency. And I think that's the one more round, that you really believe in your dream, believe in your vision, and really go out there and do it. Because I have my big vision in my head, and this is really, I really go for this. And I know it's not going to be done in a second. I know it's going to take some time to build it. But that is really, I would say, what I have with one more round.
Yeah, 'cause you already talked a little bit about your why. You said about your daughter, but also some other things alongside that. And then it's more of a question of how. Rather than, why. You identify the why, what's driving you, and then it's putting the energy into the how. So yeah, that consistency and that ability to keep going. Can you share like a time in your life, Michelle, where you had to go one more round? I know that we even joked, you even coming here was a series of like one more rounds.
Absolutely.
And maybe you can touch on that as well. But is there like one story that kind of really epitomizes that need for consistency, that need to keep going?
Yes. In fact, that's the story how I became a doctor. Since I'm 15, I wanted to be a doctor. But at first it was a challenge to get in because you had to have a certain grade to enter med school. So I had to wait 4 years. I did paramedic training before, and then I finally could enter. So that was the first part. And then I studied and did all my exams, and then I had the final exams. And in the end, I had to do the final exams 3 times.
Oh, wow.
So the second time, I missed the exam by 0.13%. You can imagine. I was like, this can't be. It was so... I don't know. And that was the moment I had this feeling, no, I don't want to go on anymore. I want to quit. I don't want to go on. And then a friend of mine called me and he asked me how I was. And I said, not so fine. I don't want to study again. I'm so sick and tired. I don't want to do this. And then he said, Michelle, I know you since you're 15. Since you're 15, you wanted to become a doctor. And now just before the finish line, you want to stop. Are you crazy? He was really talking like this to me. It's really. And then it was like somehow like a little seed plant in here. And then it was like, yeah, but I have to work so much and I really have to focus and study and so what. And the next thing he said, how much money do you need? For the next 6 months that you study, you just focus on your studies and you give it the last shot. And I was calculating in my head and was like, yeah, I guess around about 6,000 euros, so 1,000 euros per month. Okay, I give you the money. And I was like, what? No, I can't take that. It was a really like, no, I can't take that help. And he said, you know what? Sleep over it one night and then tomorrow we talk again. And my head was spinning that night. It was like going back and forth, and said, but something inside of me was, yes, I really wanted to become a doctor since I'm 15. And it would be so stupid to give up, not to take the last chance. And then in fact, I slept over it, and the next morning we spoke again, and I said yes to this offer. And then I really laser focused 6 months. I really blocked everything around me. I was just really going to the library, studying from, 9 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock at night. Weekends was off. There was dancing time, relaxing time, distraction time, and or mountain biking time. And then in the end, I passed my exam and I became a doctor. And I really, and in that moment, it was really a moment in my life. I was so proud of myself that I didn't give up, that I had this friend really gave me the kick in my
the backside.
the backside, yes. Sorry to say that, but it was really like this. It was really like that.
That's quite tame.
Yeah. And so I really accomplished my goal and my dream to become a doctor. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's so many parts of that story that I kind of want to celebrate and talk about. The first one really is your friend.
Yes.
Because, even from my own journey, I talk about how a teacher in my life was pivotal to me, finding who I was and giving me the confidence to do what I now do. And I love the fact that this man, his talk wasn't cheap. Our actions and our words need to match, don't they? And so the first thing is to really celebrate him, the fact that he was a true friend to you. And I think the challenge for us is who can we be like that to? Because there's people out there that all need an opportunity, and it's one of the things that I kind of talk about when I'm speaking is, about the fact that we have to start creating opportunities for other people, that we can't be so just consumed with ourselves. So absolutely. I love that. So I love the fact that he was like, come on! And he spoke your language, didn't he?
Yes, absolutely.
Because that's really important as well.
Yes.
You're not a quitter. You've overcome. And when somebody says, are you really going to throw in the towel now? When you're on the cusp.
Yes.
It reminds me of 3 Feet from Gold. Have you ever read that book?
No.
So that gold grows like in a U shape, but they didn't have the knowledge of this. And when the guy who owned the field tapped into a gold vein, he drilled all the way down, and once the gold stopped, he thought, well, I've got all the gold. So he sold it to a guy who literally put all of his savings into buying this land, but knew how gold was formed, which was in a U. So he just did the measurements, tapped into a vein, and made a complete fortune. And that whole sense of, being 3 feet from your breakthrough,
yes.
and not giving up. I mean, that must speak to you for the other challenges that you face in life. What do you think keeps you, moving forward now? What stops you from quitting?
It's my big vision I have, because I really want to make an impact in this world, and the big vision I have is building it's called Vitality Institute, and it will be a combination of alternative medicine like Ayurvedic, Chinese medicine, also meditation, yoga, but also mindset coaching for parents and children, because it's so important that children don't grow up with limiting beliefs. And we got to know those limiting beliefs from our parents or our grandparents, and that's what I really want to break up and really help parents to get out of their limiting beliefs, so their children can really live what they want to live, that they really can become what they want to become. If they have the dream as a child to be a pilot or whatever, that they really can go for it and not quitting because the society or people around, you're not good enough or you're not that or whatever, and they start to have those limiting beliefs and they block themselves. And that's really the big thing I want to give out to the world, and really create that with experts on that. And yes. Yeah.
And one other thing that I would just say to kind of summarize that point is the fact that at 15 you wanted to be something. You had relationships that people knew what you wanted to be, and then you had people around you that held you accountable, that encouraged you, but then also supported you with like giving money. And sometimes we say we'll be there for people, and our words can then become cheap, because we need to be people of action that do that. So I think when you're going for for your goal and you're going for what you want in life, the first thing is obviously to say it so people around you know, but you say it to the right people. My favorite proverb is don't cast your pearls to swine.
Yeah.
You know, so share your vision with the right people, have that accountability, and have people who can actually do you good along the way, because I think that's so important. When it comes to one more round, there is a sense that only you can get back up, but when somebody gives you a hand and says, come on,
Absolutely.
you know, you can do this, keep pushing through, I think that's really, really important, isn't it?
Absolutely, you're totally right. I'm really thankful for all my coaches I have in my life, because they really help me to grow myself, and that's important, that you stay on that and you really grow yourself as well.
VitalBeautyPower is the name of your business.
Yes.
And we always have fun, don't we, when we do what we love.
Absolutely.
And tell us a little bit about the name. I'm always fascinated by names, sort of how they're derived. So VitalBeautyPower, what is it about that name that you thought that's what I'm going to focus my energy into?
It was a wordplay at the beginning, because I thought I wanted to have vitality in my brand's name, and then I was juggling around, and somehow I wanted to have like that people have more power, more energy, more, you know, more drive, and so that I had that word, and then when of a sudden I was juggling around with those words, and also the beauty. It's not just the physical beauty, it's just the beauty from inside, so that they can really show their light. And then I was juggling around with a friend of mine who helped me a lot with strategies, and then we were like going back and forth, and then one of a sudden it was there, and then I said, yes, VitalBeautyPower, because and so that was created out of those 3 words, because that's what I really want to give my clients, that they can get out of their health problems, but also maybe mindset problems, because I was also trained as a mindset coach, and also that they have more power because of nutrients I give them, and also mentally. So I love to be a doctor who's looking at body, mind, and soul, and not just, you know, the symptom the patient has and he gets a pill and goodbye. I really want to see the whole person, and that's why I really do a very deep anamnesis, a really deep also body scan, and look what's going on physically in the body and also mentally. So I know the surroundings, the circumstances the person is living in, and then we create individual strategies for that client. So it's just really based what he needs or she needs, and then we go from there.
I think it's so true that the emotional side of what we carry as humans manifests itself in a physical way.
Absolutely.
So I think, you know, it's really important that it isn't just one part, but it is about the whole.
Yeah.
That must put you in a really good position, Michelle, because, you know, typically, you know, there's coaches for everything, isn't there? But the fact that you have something that's about the inside as well as the outside, that must put you in quite a nice spot. Yeah? Mm-hmm. You know, because most people, they identify a limiting belief, for example, you know, then they can only deal like with the mind, but you actually are able to look at, you know, how your blood works and how your energy works, not just your energy in terms of your charisma, but also your, you know, your blood sugar levels and things like that.
Yes.
So that must be quite an exciting thing that you do. And how does a typical session look like with you? What would that look like?
First of all, I would have a talk with the person, and then I will check. Like we would call it an anamnesis, but we'll be just checking what the person is going through, what kind of symptoms the person has, what kind of health issues the person has, and then I normally do a body scan, and it's called bioscan, and you can really scan the whole body, and then you can see if the person has heavy metals inside, pesticides inside. Because of the food industry, we have some, or even the pollution and all that. We have it in our soils, in the air, in the water. Mm-hmm. And then I really check what is going on in the body, and how. Also, I also ask the person what kind of food he eats, because that also tells me things about his health. And then I go deeper. And then it's like between 15 and 30 minutes just to do really the whole anamnesis, and then the body scan, and the body scan is about 3 minutes, but then I need more time to go through all the datas, and then you can see everything what's going on in the organs with the hormones and everything, and then I can then I make a plan. And then I speak to the person again, and then we set up the plan, what he has to do, like what supplements, what maybe training, what kind of, or I also give hints for the morning, like morning meditations and things like that, so the person can calm down. There are also methods like muscle relaxation and what he can do just to calm down, maybe when he's very stressed or something like that. And then we see individually what the person needs, and then we adapt on the way, because sometimes we have to see how the person is reacting to the supplements, if it's feeling better, or we need maybe a higher dose or things like that, because it depends how the person also, what kind of food intake the person has. So
I was just thinking about my food choice that I had at the restaurant now. Michelle would be like, oh, he's having ribs. You know what that means. That's funny. Now, I'm going to be very specific, because I think this does apply to a lot of the people that watch One More Round, people who travel. Now, I always say that I have something called travel bipolar, where sometimes I love it and then sometimes I absolutely don't like it. And there isn't much in my life where I have anxiety. So if we were to just specifically for you to share maybe a couple of tips of how somebody like myself could better manage that stress or that anxiety.
So first of all, how is it what kind of stress comes up when you travel? Is it like that you are afraid of flying, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, flying, I've flown a lot, but I'm never completely at peace. I'm always aware of my surroundings. I think it's because there's a part of like forced fellowship where you're literally flying in a tin can with wings for like a period of time. You've never met them before. And it's like a little, like, it's funny because I'm a complete extrovert. I love being around people.
Yes.
But when it comes to like traveling, I really like my own space.
Okay.
I like to be in control.
Okay.
So I think it's around that. It's about the fact that I have to give up control. It's not necessarily that I feel like I'm a control freak, but I'm organized, and I guess there's elements of that where I'm literally handing myself to the pilot. To the pilot. Yes. And the saving grace is I know the pilot doesn't want to die. So that always helps. When I get on the plane, I'm like, he doesn't or she doesn't want to die either. So come on. Yes,
absolutely. Yes, in fact, that I really would look at it. I would go into deep with you, and I would really have I have this question technique. I would really go down deep, why this is coming up. Like really, I will try to dig for the anxiety you have, and or even the control thing, so that I really look deep inside what causes that. Because sometimes it's really something that happened somewhere in your life and which is unconscious. It's under the iceberg. And we just know you're conscious about, that you somehow have this fear and you somehow have this like control feeling. But in fact, we really have to get deep, layer by layer, just to see where does it come from. And what you can do is also just, really surround yourself, accept the fear in that moment or the controlling in that moment. And you say, okay, I know you're there. And it's like what I learned from Harv Eker. It's like, if you have this thought or this fear coming up, this emotion, that you say, okay, thank you for sharing. And in that moment you just really, like with your mind, you just implement something positive. Like, I trust the pilot, I'm confident with this flight, it's all going to be fine. That you really go like this, that you really calm yourself in that moment. And you can do that just with your mind. Nice. Sometimes the emotion is strong, and I know it can, and the ego can really give you like a little slap like this, but it's just that you train that. And you do it and do it like a mantra. So you really can do that in the airplane, like a mantra. I'm fine. The flight is going to be perfect. I will enjoy it. Really like this. Yes.
Okay, good. And I guess if people want to find out more and work with you specifically, how do they go about that?
Yes, you can find me on typical social medias like Facebook, and on my webpage. It's called www.com, VitalBeautyPower.com, like this. And there you can find me. And on Instagram you can find me, and you just look for Vital Beauty Power.
Great. Well, I've got to dance for you now.
Yes, exactly.
So thanks for joining me on this edition of One More Round.
Woo! Sorry.